Good morning, everyone. My name is Juan. Welcome to another exciting episode from Growth Hacks Experience. Today we have a wonderful guest. His name is Roman Kmenta. We are going to discuss several topics in terms of not only growth for a business owner, but as well for a coach himself. We are in a wonderful experience here because we are going to discuss not only from the fact of how to become a coach, but also the important steps that a coach can take, that a business owner can take in the corporate world, with someone that has a vast experience in the corporate era. Roman, welcome. How are you?
Hi, Juan Carlos. I'm fine, and I'm pleased to be here.
Thank you, Roman. Thank you for this wonderful episode, wonderful moment. Roman, if you could tell us a little bit, just to give you some insights to our listeners. Roman has more than 2 decades of experience in sales and marketing with companies with such a worldwide reputation, like Samsonite, like General Motors, developing teams and employees worldwide with millions of revenue behind it. How was that experience, Roman?
It was a very interesting and partly a beautiful time, actually. Sometimes I loved it, sometimes I didn't, as usual. I learned a lot, and I came around. I've been living in not only in Austria, in Germany, and I've been traveling a lot to Belgium, to the Netherlands, to Eastern European countries. So it was a beautiful time. But now I've been self-employed as an entrepreneur for more than 20 years, meanwhile. And I wouldn't like to switch back to the corporate world, at least not as an employee, but I'm working with corporates a lot nowadays. So yeah, I know both sides, and both are interesting. And I love what I'm doing now. Yeah.
Wonderful, Roman. And just to give you an insight, that we just finished a certification with a group of over 300 coaches from the in the Mind Valley community, the Ever Coach community, which also includes whole body coaches, life coaches, hypnotherapist coaches, and we all have this question, Roman, where we just finished the certification. We just finished a 4 month a great path where we are sharing week after week new techniques and knowledge. But we will have the same question now: how do we go further? Which are the next steps that we take?
How can we get customers? That's the question.
Exactly.
How can we get the General Motors, the big pharmaceutical companies, etc., as customers? There are two basic ways, and I know both of them very well. The first way is the old, maybe the old-fashioned way, but still working, is to do let's say direct acquisition, meaning you think by yourself, okay, who could use or who could need what I'm doing. Then you say, okay, I don't know, General Motors could need that, or BMW, or whoever. Then you try to find out who could be a decision maker there, and to try to get them nowadays via LinkedIn or via mail, or still the old way via telephone. That's what I did for more than a decade, cold calling decision makers in big companies. And it worked very well. Of course, there are times where you get frustrated because you pick up the phone 100 times, you reach 10 people, and if you're lucky, you get one appointment. But still, if it's the right appointment, it's fine. It still works. Of course, nowadays there are a lot more possibilities. So you could do it either that way. And I'm convinced it still works. I know it still works. And for some sort of business, it's the best way still. If there are not lots of potential customers, but only very selective ones, and you could figure out who is this customer, who is this decision maker, it makes a lot more sense to try to reach them directly, contact them directly, instead of I don't know, spending your time making 1,000 posts on Instagram, YouTube, or wherever. But then probably around 10 years ago, I began to become dissatisfied a bit, because why is it always me who is after the customer, who runs after the customer, tries to catch him, tries to get him on the phone, and it was so much energy. And sometimes it took from the first contact, it took 2 or 3 years till you get a project. But then it could have been a big project as well. And I said to myself, there must be a different, a better way. And I've always been a very creative person. I've always liked to write. I published my first book 2006 and my second one 2007. And so, and around 10 years ago, a bit less than 10 years, I started 2 things. I started to reposition, or let's position myself on a niche, which is pricing and everything that goes with it. Within sales, the niche of pricing. And I built a website for my person. So I started personal branding, which I didn't do before. Before, it was our training company that I'm running together with my wife still. But the website of the training company is not important, and nobody knows it, because I started to personal brand myself. And yeah, I started to position myself, and I started with a book, 2016, with a book on the pricing topic. And I relaunched my social media channels, and I tried to do more there. I started blogging. I started, I think, 5 years ago, podcasting, etc., etc. And now I'm running a lot of channels. I'm not cold calling at all anymore. Not because it doesn't work anymore, but because I have lots and lots to do with filling all these channels, making podcasts on my podcast, or giving interviews here, writing books. I've been writing more than, I think, around 30 books in German, plus another 20 in different languages: Spanish, English, Italian, etc. And which leads to a situation where more and more customers are contacting me. Single customers, small business owners, but also customers for bigger or medium-sized companies, because they read one of my books. They, I don't know, they heard a podcast, saw a video on TikTok or on Instagram, etc., etc. So I switched from being a cold caller to a sort of media company.
Wonderful.
Both works. The second way is has more substance, because even if I'm on holiday, my blogs are online, my podcasts are online, my material is online, my books are can be bought and read. It's a lot of work. The second one takes more time till it starts working. You cannot expect publishing, I don't know, 3 blogs and then everybody's calling you. It takes time, it takes creativity, it takes material, but it works. So depending on your type and what you prefer to do.
Exactly. Oh, excellent. It resonates so much to what I'm pursuing myself, because I'm pursuing something called value hacking. And in terms of value hacking, what we defend is that if you really find out what is the value that you are bringing into the world, then it's not anymore about trying to convince people about how you're selling, but about being the ambassador of your message over and over again. So I love it. Thank you. It's a reinforcing of what we are defending, which is basically, it proves as well with big examples like the companies that you are working with.
Yeah.
So now from the coaching perspective, Roman, now from the perspective of entrepreneurs, I believe the first company that I was thankfully allowed to be part of the launch was about 10, 12 years ago. Since then, the sense of entrepreneurship has been changing so much. And one of the things that I always love from every experience was that we tend to say like we have these horrible experiences that teach us something amazing, and and then that was like a breaking point for us. May I ask you if you could share with us you some one of those hard experiences that you would say like this happened to me and I learned this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let me think. Um, yeah, for example, because people always ask me how come that you have written so many books?
I
Uh,
went there.
how can a single person write so many books? Actually, it's not so difficult anymore for me. I'm always writing on the next or one book. And I've started writing books 2006, and then 2007, and then the next one I think only 2016. So there was a break in between. And a couple of years ago, I met a guy, more or less coincidentally, uh, who was in books, but in a side sentence, he mentioned that he has something like 200 books online. And I said, what, 200 books online? How can that be? How can a single person have 200 books? It turned out that's, of course, not 200 fully written books with 200-300 pages. Some of them low content books, some of them more or less versions of more or less the same books with a different. So he made one book for, I don't know, Munich, one for Amsterdam, one for Paris, with the same structure and the same idea behind it. But whatever. I was so flashed that a person could have 200 something books. And I said, I only have 3 books. So how? Maybe I should start write more books, because I made a short calculation and said to myself, 200 books. If he only has 20 euros from one book in a month, that's 4,000 euros. That's, I mean, not so bad in the coaching business if you compare it.
Yeah.
And so I started writing book, and I started self-publishing as well, because all the publishing houses were much too slow for me and too difficult to get in contact. Everything took so long. So I started self-publishing. And but this was a moment where I said, wow, a book is not only, for me, this was a turning point. A book is not only something that you could use as a coach, for example, or also as an entrepreneur, to market what you're doing. It's a perfect marketing tool. I recommend that everybody has at least one book written by him or published by him. That's one thing. But for me, a book is also a product that I can sell. So a book has to earn money for me, and not only do a marketing job. So this was really an important turning point, because meanwhile, book business is a substantial part of my overall business.
Yeah, yeah, completely agree. Indeed, there needs to be a congruence between everything that we are doing, and because at the end it's our time, and it's the most valuable asset that we have.
Yeah.
What we do with our time. But even though I'm still trying to grasp the idea of like, well, 50 books in in what, like 6 years? Wow.
No,
Yeah. Nice. So how may I ask, what will be like the first 3 things that would you recommend when it comes about writing a book?
first of all, you have to find your topic, which shouldn't be too difficult, because it should be, let's say, if you're a coach for resilience, for example, then it would make a lot of sense to write a book on resilience. And of course, you could go a bit deeper and a bit more niche, and say, okay, resilience for managers, or resilience for women, or resilience for whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one thing. That shouldn't be too difficult. That's your expertise. The second thing is, you have to get your structure right for a book, because there are several ways to write a book. First, you have to imagine it's like a tree. If I write a book, I build first a build sort of tree with a a trunk and some branches, the bigger ones, and then I only fill the branches up with leaves if I write the book. So that's the third step is, if you have the structure, you have to fill in your words and your ideas in the structure. And there, the most important thing is that you do it consequently. You do not have to. For many people, most people think to write a book is I don't know, something that takes years or a lifetime or whatever. No, it doesn't. A book for me, if I'm more or less consequent, I write it not as a full-time job, but more or less like something like an hour a day or so in a month or so. Because in an hour a day, I can write, let's say 1,000 words, and that would make 30,000 words. And 30,000 words is an expert book of 170 pages, something like that, which is thick enough. So that's the 3 steps, and the rest is it's not a miracle.
Wonderful, wonderful. You know, one of the big changes that it happened, for example, in my career from my transition between the corporate world and a full-time entrepreneur and now a business coach, was finding the balance between my normal life, the activities that I do, and my family. For example, I have my daughter close to me today. Like you can hear her sometimes. And you know, it's indeed. Then it's when it comes even more important the value in my life, the word of consistency, being consistent in everything that we do, consistent effort. So thank you indeed, and that is indeed one of another reinforcement on what we are building upon. So Roman, another question that I may ask: what do you see in the current situation of coaching? Because coaching is becoming as well a little bit of a more known known career, known path. Um, I had a coach while I was a director. I got a coach for the first time. So that was about 6 years ago. Before that, I never had an image. But what do you see that is a common common situation that is happening at this moment with directors, with CEOs, that they are not that they are not doing, that they should start doing, and that's why they are looking for a coach. So what do you think that people should start doing when it comes about leadership?
Yeah, I think we are lacking at the moment. We are lacking courage in the corporate world. There are by far too many rules. For example, all this compliance stuff has become completely nuts. You cannot, if I think back to my corporate times, Samsonite, this was sort of a big family, and compliance, yes, but we didn't do any strange things. It was just, for example, we went out with customers, we spent some hours at a bar, at the trade fair, etc. It was normal. Nowadays, everything has become extremely complicated, lots and lots and lots of rules. We are always adding, especially in the corporate world, more and more rules, and we forget taking rules away again that don't make sense anymore. So what happens is that there are more and more rules, and also even the CEOs are quite often are completely restricted by those rules. They're in a sort of cage, because the CEO from a big company, a corporate in Austria or even in Germany, reports to the CEO in New York or Los Angeles or whatever. And what I see with managers, even in higher ranks, they do not dare to do things that are a little bit out of the normal frame.
Yeah.
They're lacking courage because, of course, there could be consequences. Yes, it's like that, which leads, of course, to an organization that stays completely within the comfort zone, which is, of course, very bad for each organization. And that's what I see more or less everywhere. People tend to stick to the rules, making their 9-to-5 jobs and not and partly, unfortunately, switching off their brains because they are not, or they do not seem to be allowed to use them.
Well, yeah, indeed, completely agree. It's even actually the boldness that sometimes we need to be able to think out of the box.
Mm.
There is a situation that we are looking to apply in the teams that we are working with, where we are require them to start setting up time in the week, working hours, just to think about projects that they don't really have to do with their working task, so that they can actually think about innovation in the company, especially with AI coming now into the picture. How do you see AI, for example, in your impact so far?
I see. Very interesting. I think. I do not think. I know that we are just at the very beginning of the whole AI story. Already now, it's actually almost a year ago when I saw ChatGPT first time. I was completely flashed. Of course, it has impact. I use it. I just worked with it a bit. I use it to generate ideas, to support me by generating ideas. I'm not using it. I'm using it to write or rewrite a bit, a chapter of this or that, or I don't know, a short text here and there. It's absolutely astonishing what already now we can do with AI. Of course, there are dangers. Yes.
Yeah,
But what is interesting, because we always fear that our jobs get lost with every new step of technology, and actually it's like that. Some jobs get lost, but there are others will be added, and we always thought, yeah, the low end jobs would get lost. No, actually, if you look at the AI possibilities, it's more the white collar workers jobs, the thinkers workers, the creative jobs that would get or could get lost or are in danger to get lost. A normal, I don't know, a plumber, no sorrows at all. He will have his job also in 10, 20, and 30 years, because
yeah,
I do not see AIs fixing my shower if it doesn't work, or my heater.
yeah, indeed.
But interesting, very interesting.
Yeah, even if we were analyzing this from the part of what psychologists are saying about, for example, the hard labors out there, like for example, people that are maintaining these large infrastructures, cities, about the lights around the cabling, all those things that actually, like, indeed, we need them even more than ever because people just want to stay home now, work from.
Doctors, lawyers, writers,
Yeah,
coaches. Let's see.
indeed, wonderful, Roman. Thank you very much. Indeed, this is exactly why we created a GrowFacts experiences, to be able to understand these point of views and from experience and share it with the world. We even just, if I may say, from my perspective, is that uh, we were lucky to understand, to be able to have these opportunities in Europe. So now what we are doing is that we are also translating all this information to Latin America in Spanish. I hope that with GrowFacts experience, with Inspiral Growth, we can help young entrepreneurs, young professionals to have opportunities with tools like AI, for example. So thank you for sharing this moment, Roman. And Roman, if basically, aside from our coaching network, we also have a network of entrepreneurs, founders here in the Netherlands, in Europe, startup owners. If they would like to get in touch with you, what will be the best way so they could learn from you as well?
The best way is contact me on one of the social media channels. You can visit my website on www.romankmenta.com. I think we can put it in the show notes.
Yeah.
You will find my books on all of them on Amazon. And yeah, contact me, write me a mail, whatever. I'm happy to enlarge and to make my network bigger. So very welcome.
Thank you very much. there you have it, guys. Everyone, please, for everyone that actually has joined us today, thank you for your time. Thank you for your comments. If you would like to know more and to, of course, know more from Roman, please see on the description. We're going to put all the links from the books, from the website from Roman, and descriptions as well. And if you would like to follow us, please subscribe to the button. Thank you. I wish everyone a wonderful day. Roman, thank you very much. Have a wonderful day as well.
Thank you.
Take care.